Greetings, fellow salt ancestors, and welcome to, a video. So, this is not about solo RPGs. It usually is, and I do my best to make it so, but here's the situation. I got the paper version of Koriko recently, like the physical version, which, if you watch my favorite videos, favorite games of 2023, Koriko was on it. So I've been sort of playing that, and because summer lasts for like a second in Canada, I also haven't been playing a whole lot of RPGs, meaning that I don't really know what to review for today's video. So instead of half covering Koriko, and it doesn't deserve that because it's so good, I decided to spend this week's video talking about other stuff, which may or may not be cool with you. Let me know in the comments if this is just too weird and I just shouldn't bother next time, which is completely legitimate. I mean, I'm trying to appeal to the solo RPGer. But as a weird topic today, and because I have these great games that I can't play because they're not solo. So today I want to talk about games that I would play if I had friends. My top 3, I guess, technically. Honorable mention to a game I don't actually own called Yezeba's Breakfast, which is basically the only TTRPG that I have heard of, that I enjoy listening to actual play of. Typically, I listen to a lot of actual plays of RPGs, but often it's to get a sense of the flow of the game or to get a sense of the rules. Yezeba's Bed and Breakfast is one that I listen to because I really enjoy the stories that it generates. But again, I don't own it, so it's not on this list, but I will own it, despite the fact that it costs entirely too much money for my budget. I will own it one day. But it's not this video, because this video is my top 3 that I actually own. And I guess I'll stop talking about other things and talk about those 3 games, because that's what we're here for, right? Like games, right? Cool. So, game number 1, Kids on Brooms. This is a Harry Potter, the board game, the RPG game, sorry. So in Kids on Brooms, again, this requires more than one player to play. Although I have tried to play it solo, it doesn't go terribly, but it's just too much work I find it's too much work to play an RPG that isn't meant for solo. Like the amount of time to drive the story, the amount of input, there's just a little too much for me. But I love the idea of this game. I wanted to own it. Basically the system is on a series of dice. You assign a dice value to 6 different stats. These stats are used to cast spells. So for example, the aloof teacher is not so good at fighting. So if he was to cast a fighting spell, he'd have to roll a d4 for outcome, but if he did it for flight, he would roll a d20, for example. And then we have some characteristics. The whole game is adorable, frankly. So sorry, I'll sift you through it a little bit better than that. So aside from choosing a bit of a theme and assigning your stats, again, so d20 you're superb at it, d4 you're terrible at it, and you have to choose. But in addition to that, you also get some additional bonus based on, also there's a bit of a race, ethnicity, gender, and sexuality. There is actually a fair bit of safety-related things, very inclusive language in this rulebook. I don't know, I haven't done a lot with this company. Who is this again? Renegade Games? Oh, sorry. I've done a fair bit with Renegade Games. But, I don't know, I don't think they put that much effort, for example, in My Little Pony RPG. But, yeah. But I'm assuming it's probably there because, again, if it's thematically draws on Harry Potter, the extra affirmation possibly make a lot of sense. But anyway, describes the types of magic. And after that, what do? Oh, yeah. You build a wand. So you have different kinds of woods and cores that have an impact on your stats. And not only that, but you also get a broom with different power of brooms, which is awesome. Awesome. You can also get a familiar. And then there's questions to get the group started, either with a quick start or a more lengthy intro. So they sort of flesh out the relationship between players. So it seems very streamlined as far as character creation goes. And then you do a class schedule, which is really, I don't know. I just love the way this game works. I also love the way they do their magic system. So the GM would have to set the difficulty level for every check, then you would roll the appropriate dice, plus perhaps some bonus that you have from your wand, from whatever else. But the way Magic works, instead of having a list of spells that basically like limit the kind of spells available, what the DM does is establish the difficulty of the spell based on the characteristic of the spell. So for example, it's extra hard if it's a natural thing that could happen. So if you make it rain during rainy season versus you make it rain in the desert, right? So in the desert, it could happen, but not naturally. It couldn't even break the rules of reality. I don't know. I'm assuming it rains in some desert. There's no deserts in Canada. Not a specialist. Anyway, areas effect, a book versus a classroom or bigger. Duration effect, experience with the spell. So all these things tweak. That means that the player basically says, okay, I want a spell that does anything at all. And then what the GM would do is go, okay, I think that falls under this kind of school of magic because it makes sense. And here's how difficult it is based on what you're expecting out of it and if you've done it before. So I think this is a really neat way of approaching spellcasting from a rules perspective. And I guess that's it. I guess there's some spending money sometimes about how to build a story, some tropes, some flaws. You encourage to have flaws. Anyway, it's interesting game. This is one I would like to play if I had friends. Sadly, I don't have any, so it sits on my shelf. Hoping that maybe one day my kids will be teenagers and want to play this for me. And also, to be fair, I also sometimes do enjoy reading rule books just because they're awesome. Just the act of reading them makes me feel like I'm part of the game. And this is one that did that for me. Taking us to the next game. Golden Sky Stories, a heartwarming role-playing game. This, I believe it is from Japan actually, Sterling. Anyway, this is a fantastic little RPG. It is so fascinating. I mean, I'm not going to go into details of the mechanics because they're really funky compared to what I've usually encountered. But basically what this is a Studio Ghibli game in which the player become hengeis, which are like basically spirit animal. So this is the fox. So they have their true form, which is the fox, and then they have a human form they can turn into. And the players are each different ones. So we have a raccoon dog, and they have cats. Look, it's a cat. They have a regular dog, and bunny, and bird. And basically, from this, things you can also have very specific powers that are specific to the spirit animal that you are. And throughout this game, basically what you do is that you resolve what I would call slice of life, small town issues. So you see we have a little map of the town here. And it could be something, like it's meant to be something light, like, a little girl lost her stuffy and the Enge are trying to help her find it. Like it's supposed to be very slice of life, very sweet. In fact, the power, so to speak, of the action comes from the depth of the connection between the character and their town, the characters and each other, the characters and other NPCs that they encounter. So this is basically a character sheet, and like the connection is very important. And this is one of the game that mechanically always discourages aggression, basically because aggression will always damage a connection one way or another, and that will cost opportunities basically. So Anyway, it's the sort of thing that I think you should run as a one-shot. Like, obviously, no one's going to do a campaign of this. But this is a one-shot that I would personally really like to run. I think it's sweet. It comes with 2 pre-generated, adventures, modules, I guess. They both seem interesting. There's one that I like a lot. And I would love to run it someday. If I can find not only a friend, but a friend that would be interested in a Golden Sky Stories about a cute little village and just helping villagers do village things. No heroics, just connection and getting to know one another and, being a positive force in the universe. So, also another rule book that I really, really enjoyed reading just on its own. And again, mechanics that are very interesting and very different from what I normally see. Like this is very unique in what it does. So I appreciated both the design perspective, a theme perspective, and just, also how pretty. Look, it's the bunny. I love it. Love it, love it. The last one is City of Mist, which I've already talked about, kind of. Again, this is not solo playable. I did play it when I got the Mythic's Game Master emulator. That's how much I wanted to play this game. I decided to use Mythic with it. I didn't play it a lot though, because I find it is a lot to juggle both Mythic and the book, like the core rules of a system. I think that I know that the makers of this, Son of Oak, have created a second sort of a spin-off of the system. I believe it's called Legends in the Mist. Anyway, it's similar systems, more streamlined, set in a fantasy universe, but as a Kickstarter stretch goal, they had solo rules. So I immediately backed it for many reasons. One, I really like the system. Two, maybe those solo rules could also be implemented in this universe of basically a noir city riddled with, crime and bribes and all those things. And in there is a mist that sort of covers up the track of supernatural people that do supernatural thing and in the shadows control the city. And the players are one of those beings that is both normal but also carry what they call a mythos, which is an identity of a myth. Really, it's what it is. Like, you could have the mythos of Excalibur, you could have the mythos of Robin Hood, you could carry the mythos of basically anything you want. This contains a lot of information on how to create characters. Son of Oak also created a bunch of pre-gens. If you want to skip it, which I have to say, I have DM'd before. I run a lot of solo game for myself. I'm not normally intimidated. This is one that I think I have basically no chance of ever playing, not only because I don't have friends, but also because I wouldn't be willing to DM it. I feel like there would be a lot of heavy lift. This would be the longest session 0 ever if people want to create their own character. That said, it is so cool the way it's done. I really enjoyed reading this entire rulebook and actually bought the GM guide. Again, not that I think I'll GM, but just because it's so amazing the way that they did it. I love the way the book is presented. I love the rules. This runs on basically 2d6s. So you basically roll 2d6s and then you can add your power to that number, and the power is based on your character creation. So when you create a character, you create what they call tags, and those tags basically describe something. Like if you have a big ass gun, for example, and you're going into a fight, then you say, okay, I'm going to a fight, so I'm going to roll my 2d6, but I get +1 because I'm using my big ass gun. But also maybe you are a sniper. So you go, I'm using my big ass gun and my sniper skill because this person's, pretty far, and then you have a power of 2. So it really is a system that I find promotes being in character. It's super simple to play, actually. Like, once you get past the hurdle of just getting the sense of the character and how the tags work, it actually seems like it would play very simply. It's a cool system too, because every person has different, what do they call them? Sorry, I don't have the terminology for sure, but types of so there's 4 types to every characters, and some of them are the mythos and some of the logos, which is sort of their alter ego identity, right? So basically in my made-up game, I was a city librarian who was also Sherazade. So I had some of these types that were because of my mythos, and some of them that were from my logos. From my logos, I had knowledge of city system and access to library and that sort of thing. And from Sherazade, I had more charms and storytelling skills and that sort of thing. So again, this is a system that really helps playing in character. It has some really cool things too in the GM guides about how to build a, more of a mystery type story. And again, I don't know that I would feel comfortable doing that for other people, but oh my God, I wish I could. I so wish I could, because this game is super interesting to me, not just in its theme, but also in its execution, in how, again, you can also, if you're acting too much against your aspects, then basically you could break them. So for example, if I'm acting too much against, for example, if you create a character and a key part of them is their children, for example, their human children, their regular life children, and something happened to them, you could break that team, and then their mythos would take over, and then that whole team gets redefined for their mythos. It takes more, it's a lot to explain. I'm doing a very poor job of it. And obviously this is completely unscripted. But anyway, all this to say, this was just meant to highlight 3 games that I think Would be very cool to play if I had friends. And while I don't have any, I can definitely say that I had a whole lot of fun just reading these games and being immersed in their universe through that. I haven't given up hope, at least Golden Sky Story. I'm thinking of all years my daughters will definitely want to play this with me, so there's that. And again, who knows, maybe City of Mist dreams will come true with Legend in the Mist. I'll be coming out from Kickstarter. And I guess that's what I'll leave you with. And I want to be clear, like, it's not that I don't have solo games I could cover, except that I haven't played them yet. And I don't want to, do a terrible job of it. I'm trying to make sure you have your money's worth. So I have this literal stack of games here that I have to play and I haven't gotten around to. So we have the Secrets of Kenderlin. This one is more of a like guided adventure, choose your own adventure vibe to it. Mandy, well, actually all of these, Mandy loaned to me. So I'm not sure about this one, but maybe I'll get there. Ink is it's kind of a system that lets you play any character from other RPG that has passed away and creates a universe for them in like the afterlife, basically. So I like the premise, also love the art. Still haven't played it. Hedge Witch, super tiny game about being a hedge witch. What more can I say? Nothing, I haven't played it, but it's cute. My brain is a stick of butter. Love the name. Apparently this is like simulation for like ADHD. So if you want to know what it's like to have ADHD, apparently this will answer the question for you, which was a fun enough premise for me to want to play it. Golem a Memoir. I'm not sure about this one, but it was about a golem that discovers new purpose, new claims to beauty, or a new dream, which sounds inspiring and fun. Also, you're a golem, so I want to know what that's about. Wreck this deck. Haven't played either, obviously. But in that game, you destroy a deck of cards, which sounded dramatic enough for me to want to give it a try. You are a muffin, which, oh my god, you're literally a muffin in this game. Like you're a pastry in a coffee shop. Like, really? That's a whole game. Like, how cool is that? So I wanted to see what I'd be like as a muffin, because it's not a question we've all asked ourselves at one point. Effective right now. Oh, and this one apparently is about drawing. Supposed to draw. I'm a terrible drawer. I'm so worried. But then Mandy was like, well, apparently it's really good. And it starts with like, oh, let's revisit how to draw perspective, which I've never been able to do in my entire life. But now that it's a game, I feel challenged to do it. Anyway, so these are all in the queue, along with, of course, Koriko, which I'm hoping to bring to you soon. If you find that any of those are of particular interest, let me know, because I could always look at them in the preferred order. Make use of the comment section. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Tell me if you want me to talk about more off-topic solo off-topic, but still RPG topics. What else is on my shelf? That sort of thing. I don't know. Whatever. Sky's the limit. For now, I'll let you go. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I wish you a great day.